objective was to ensure that every individual discovers the communicator and leader in himself or herself. And our club ethos is you leave every meeting a little intelligent, because we enable you to develop your communication and leadership skills in a supportive and learning environment. With that, I shall now hand the stage over to our club president, a person who is a stickler for guidelines, but within those guidelines, the miracles that he can create can only be done by DTM Saif Ali Sheikh. So to create the miracle today, I hand over the stage to DTM Saif Ali Sheikh. DTM Saif, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much, DTM Sudarshan. What's a great opening today, and you reinforced that we belonging to a big family around the globe. And the one thing I would like to mention today is our first meeting of the new year. And as once we start over the years, we have to follow or we have to establish our resolution. Just like me, I decided myself that before June, I'm going to complete my second path. And similarly, definitely the others have their different resolutions to pass. So that was one, that what I have decided. And I am progressing myself and started to complete my second path because of the public demand that I have to complete. So by having said this one, so just talk to yourself. And this is the best remedy and best medicines when we start talking to ourselves, that where we are today and where we are looking ourselves in a couple of months. So if there is any change, then it's mean we are progressing. If there is no change, it's mean we are stagnant in one point. We are not doing anything. Just make a point today that where we are today, we must have to take the bigger step or the smaller step. We have to just move on. Once we start moving on, we are going to achieve a lot. By having said this one, may I request all of you, do you have any business or any questions to be asked?
Yes, sir. Just a little bit of business. And the business is that our last meeting was our international speech contest, the first ever international speech contest. Sorry. It was won by DTM Iram Rizvi. Toastmaster Omar Shahid was second place and DTM Sudarshan was third place. According to the rules, DTM Iram and Toastmaster Omar Shahid are eligible to move forward to area. And DTM Iram is also eligible for her video speech to be submitted to the video speech contest Toastmasters Worldwide. So I congratulate all participants and all the club for holding its first ever international speech contest. So the second bit of business is that I have invited, and I'll also invite today, applications for nominations for the other contests. The other contests are Urdu speech contest, evaluation contest, table topics contest, and humorous speech contest. If we receive more than 2 nominations for any of these contests, we will again hold a contest, because we have to send forward 2 contestants to the area who are eligible. So other than that, there has been no decision or action by the executive committee that needs ratification by the club. And there have been no new member inductions as well. So with that, over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President Education. Let me ask you one question. Did you trim the speech of DTM Iram Rizvi for international video speech content?
Sir, not yet, because it needs to be trimmed and edited, and it needs to be submitted, but the deadline for that is March 31, 2023. So it will be done as soon as possible.
Yes, don't forget that you have to include in this video when she was introducing to call for speaking, and then the end and handing over again back to the contestant.
Yes,
Otherwise,
and
she might not get entitled to participate in the contest.
yes, and also the 1 minute silence afterward. So yes, sir,
Mhm.
that's well noted. Thank you so much.
And another thing is that, do you have any information about the Area 10 contest, upcoming Area 10 contest?
Sir, so far we don't, and our area director is also a member, but he's busy in examinations these days. So I will ask him to update the club and the whole area about the contest dates. But
That's
so far
good.
they have been, yeah.
That's good. That's great. Let me welcome our guest. Still, she is a guest or a member, Lydia Norman.
So she's a guest, sir.
Still, you are a guest, Lydia. So join us if you feel comfortable.
Oh, thank you.
So, so any other business?
No, sir, not from my side.
So there is no secretary available. So otherwise, I will request him to read out the minutes of meeting from the last meeting and will adopt officially as a record of the club. Now, it's a time. My business session is almost completed by 10 minutes. Let's move to our education session. Education sessions comprise of 3 segments: prepared speeches, table topic, and evaluations. And to lead today the education session, I have a short of word to describe his ability and capabilities. He is a champion, not only in the Toastmaster, by his profession also. And he is always come up to help out others. So please put together none other than DTM Sudarshan Shishadhari.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I will start with a story, as I always do. The year was 1988. It was 1st January. I had received, and my sister had received, a beautiful notebook, something much like this, a notebook which was kept on the table. I woke up about 3 to 4 minutes before my sister, without brushing my teeth, without going to the bathroom. I went, grabbed the notebook, opened the first page, and wrote, "This notebook belongs to Sudarshan." I went off to do my morning ablutions. I came out, and the house was in chaos. My sister was on the floor, sprawling, rolling from one end to the other. "That was my notebook. Why did he take it?" Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we've all received a blank notebook. What is the beauty of a blank notebook? First and foremost, a blank notebook has a smell. The smell of opportunities, the smell of intrigue, the smell of the fact that it is still smelling of the printer's ink, it is still smelling of the glue with which it's been attached, it is still smelling of untouched human paper. The second thing a blank notebook gives you is the possibility, like I did that day, you put your name down there, call it Saif, call it Lydia, call it Cynthia, call it Talha, call it Zahra, it becomes yours. Till that point in time, it is just a notebook which has got no relevance. But the moment you write your name on it, it is now yours and it reflects your personality. As my school teachers used to tell me, "Sudarshan, yours is the dirtiest notebook in school." Because guess what I used to do? I used to take out my notebooks, and in the middle here, where you can see the margins, I would draw caricatures. And when the teacher used to take my notebook to correct, she would find less of written material from the subject and more cartoons in the middle. And she used to get really irritated with me. But that became my signature. When someone took my notebook, they knew what they're getting into. I'm sure each and every one of us has received, will continue to receive in the virtual world a virtual notebook which is completely blank. In this meeting today, we shall unravel each and every page of this notebook to see how we make this notebook ours and why is it so important to respect and rejoice in this blank notebook which we all get. However, at this point in time, let me carry on further from what DTM have said. This is an educational meeting, which only means that this meeting has got a structure. And like every notebook which has got margins on the side and lines in between for us to write clearly, our meetings margins are going to be handled by two very important people, one of whom is our timer. And as they say, time and tide waits for no man, which only means that we need to respect this particular resource. And to do the honors today, we have Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim as our timer of the day. Could I please ask Toastmaster Zahra to explain to all of us what her role is going to be? Toastmaster Zahra, could you please do us the honors?
Yes, thank you very much, DTM Sudarshan. So being a timer, I will be showing you the cards, which is green, yellow, and red. So for the keynote speaker, I will be showing on 18 minutes, I'll be showing green card. Yes, so let me change the background. Yes. Yes, I will be showing green, and on 20 minutes, I'll be showing yellow, and on 22 minutes, I'll be showing red, and 5-minute session will be conducted for Q&A session. And for the, as we all know, for the prepared speech session, we have on 5 minutes green card, and on 6 minutes yellow card, and on 7 minutes, we have the red card, and 30 seconds grace period will be given to the speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Zahra. The other margin, so if this was the right margin, the left margin is the way in which we speak, communicate, and use our language. So to keep a keen eye and a keener ear on the way we speak, the nuances of how we spoke, the excellence that we displayed, and the not so excellent parts that we used, all of which will be recorded and reported at the end of the meeting by Toastmaster Osama Ali. If I understand correctly, he's recently migrated out of Pakistan and he's right now in a drive, and yet he is going to make sure that despite the traffic noise, he listens to us carefully and reports at the end of the meeting. Toastmaster Osama, could you please tell us exactly how you're going to perform your role?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. As fellow Toastmasters, this is Osama here, and as a language evaluator, I will be evaluating the good use of grammar and would be correcting some of my mistakes as well at the end of the meeting. And now I would be introducing the word of the day. The word of the day is abundance, which means to exist in great quantity. Let me use it in a sentence. The area has an abundance of wildlife. The area has an abundance of wildlife. So I would definitely recommend you to use this word in your speeches or table topics. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Osama. Yes, abundance is what a blank notebook gives you. Abundance of opportunities to fill each page with a story that you have chosen to write. Before I proceed any further, I can see that there are two more guests that have joined us. Welcome on board, Toastmaster Mariana, from multiple number of clubs. So I don't know which club I should say you belong to, but welcome on board, and you are one of our cherished guests. So good evening to you, and we are happy to have you on board. At the same time, Toastmaster Shayan Pant has joined. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. If you could unmute and quickly introduce yourself to all of us, that will be of great help.
Thank you so much. I'm from District 124 and the Founders District. I currently serve as a District Chief Judge of District 124, and I was very fortunate to be in the meeting of my home club's Medley Chapter 1 Advance, where Lydia was there, and she was so kind to share the meeting details. So this is the first time I'm joining your club meeting, and I look forward for an amazing meeting. Thank you.
Welcome on board. Welcome on board. And we also have guest Zaim Akhtar. I am assuming it's a guest. Could you please quickly unmute and introduce yourself as well before we get on to the proceedings proper?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. So my name is Zaim Akhtar, and yes, I am a guest. So it's my first ever Toastmasters meeting, and I'm very excited about it. And I will see how you guys take this meeting.
Perfect. Welcome on board. If nothing else happens, you will leave this meeting a little richer for the knowledge that you get. So fasten your seat belts and get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for us to walk the talk and show you why is Quantum Leap Toastmasters truly unique. We are a collection of geeks. We are a collection of people that reside in the margins of the notebooks. Just like me, who used to draw on the margins of the notebook, we prefer to reside in the margins of the notebook because that's where life really happens. And one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is our keynote speeches. And today we are blessed to have someone with us who literally deals with gold. No, not the solid form of gold, the liquid form of gold, the gold that comes from deep within the bowels of this earth and powers everything, including the vehicle that our friend Talha is driving right now. This is a person who deals with petroleum in his day job. As boring as it can get. But come the night, this gentleman dons another suit and walks into a Toastmasters meeting and floors everybody with everything that he does. He's been a Toastmaster just for a few months now, not a very long journey. But in this short period, he is not just been anointed as a great communicator, but he also helms the affairs of the ExCom at Karachi Toastmasters, which is probably one of the biggest clubs in Pakistan. And on top of it, today, he is going to be sharing with us his thoughts over a 20+ minute speech in his keynote address, which is entitled The Flush of Inspiration. The Flush of Inspiration to be delivered by Toastmaster Mufaddal Murtaza. Toastmaster Mufaddal Murtaza, The Flush of Inspiration. The stage is all set for you, Mufaddal. Please take charge and lead us through this journey.
Thank you very much, TM Sudarshan, for the wonderful introduction and for the kind words. I just wanted to confirm if I'm audible and visible to all of you.
Yes, clearly audible, clearly visible.
Okay, great. And I would like to share my presentation as I would be speaking. So can I have the rights?
Sorry, just a second. As Zoom master, I would request if Toastmaster Zahra can raise her virtual hand so that the timer window is always visible to the speaker. And Toastmaster Mufaddal, make sure that the timer window is visible to you.
Yes.
Apologies for the interruption, and over to you.
Yeah, okay. TM Zahra is now visible. And just give me 1 minute so that I can share my screen and present. Okay. Okay, please let me know if you see my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
Okay, great. Water is life. But I would like to say no to water. I don't like water. And I mean it. I'm not saying this to grab your attention. I mean it. I hate water. Now, you all would be thinking that what am I saying? I am saying no to a thing, which is life, and how I can say no to water? If I really mean it, then why I'm still alive? Fellow Toastmasters and guests, it's true that water is life, but when it comes to oil and gas business, water is a curse. Water is an evil, and we always try to run away from water. As I'll move on in my speech, I'll be speaking why I hate water, why oil and gas business hate water, and we'll talk about stuff and a project, which is kind of old project. I did this project back in 2016, but this project is really, really close to my heart. And I'll let you know how is this related to no to water and how I progressed in this water as I started my career in the oil and gas industry. If I move on, before project, I would like to set some bases of my project, and I would like to, can you just give me 1 minute, please? Okay. I would like to set some bases, and I would like to explain some technical details so that you can have a better understanding of my project. First of all, let me explain you how the whole oil and gas business works. When I was studying petroleum engineering during my graduation, and when my friends and my relatives asked me, what are you pursuing your graduation? And I told them I'm doing petroleum engineering. So they thought, oh, you'll be graduating and after that you'll be working on one of the petrol pumps. And that was really difficult to make them understand what actually petroleum engineers do, for the reason that most of the public, they think that petroleum engineers are something related with the petrol pumps, but there's a lot of things in the oil and gas business. The overall oil and gas sector has been divided into 3 main parts. Some divide in 2 parts, some divide in 4 parts, but most of the literature, if you will see, they divide the sector into 3 main parts. The first sector has different responsibility, the second sector has a different responsibility, and so as with the third one. Now, what does the first sector do? The first sector is called as the upstream sector. The upstream sector has a responsibility of extracting the crude from the subsurface. The crude oil is stored deep inside the subsurface in the pores of the rock. Some people also think that there is a sea of oil inside the land in the subsurface, but it's not true. The hard rock, which is being deposited inside the subsurface long time ago, millions of years ago, have pores in it, and after certain period of time, a source develops some kerogen, which eventually converts into crude oil and natural gas, and that natural gas and crude oil is being stored in those pores, which is stored at very high pressure. The responsibility of the upstream sector, sorry, is
Toastmaster Faizan, can you please mute yourself? Zoom Master, can you please mute Toastmaster Faizan?
So,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the upstream sector drills wells, get the passageway and the path up to the reservoir, extract the crude oil and gas up to the surface. As far as the crude oil is at the surface, their job is done. Then there's a midstream sector, which takes the responsibility of processing, transporting, and moreover, transporting the oil and gas, both, and processing as well if there is any non-hydrocarbon gases or any impurities into that. That is a different sector. And the third sector is the refining sector. which we call as downstream sector. The downstream sector takes the responsibility of refining. Moreover, they take the responsibility of marketing as well, both oil and gas. So they don't have anything related with the extractions. Those who are in Pakistan, let me give you an example. They can relate this, and even there are certain multinational companies, people outside of Pakistan can also relate it. Like you might have heard about British Petroleum. It's an upstream company, but it also deals in downstream sector, as you see petrol pumps of British Petroleum when you move around in the city. In Pakistan Petroleum, OGDCL, United Energy Pakistan, these all are upstream sectors. When we talk about Pakistan State Oil, that's a downstream sector. When we talk about BICO, Parco, these are refineries as well. So they also come in the downstream sector. So this is the division that the upstream sector, the midstream sector, and the downstream sector have individually. Now, if I move on to the next part, that people think that when the crude oil comes to the surface, they can directly pump it into their car. No, that's not true. The crude oil is actually a raw form, a complex mixture of hydrocarbon. You cannot pump that crude oil directly into the car. You have to refine it. When you put that crude oil into a refinery, there is a fractional tower where you boil the crude oil from the bottommost part. And what happens that when you boil it, it starts to separate the fractions, and you can have different products out of those fractions. Just for your interest, gasoline is one of the fraction which we put into our car. Jet fuel is the one which helps us to travel from one country to another country. Similarly, the kerosene helps us to do the barbecue. The Vaseline or the petroleum jelly helps us to get our hands in winters. We use it so that we don't get any dryness. Similarly, there are more than 100 products which you get out of from the crude oil. The roads which are made from the bitumen is made from crude oil. So we have lots of things. The ladies, they cannot do their cosmetics. They cannot have their cosmetics if the oil and gas people don't bring crude oil from them. Plastics, rubbers. So many things come out of from that crude oil, and the one which we use for transportation is just a fraction of it. So this was all about the oil and gas business. If I move on, where do we find oil? I belong to the upstream sector. If I just disclose, I belong to the upstream sector. We produce and we explore and produce oil and gas business. Now, where do we find this oil? Where do we have this? There are two main segments in which oil and gas exploration sites have been divided. One of them is known as the offshore areas, and the other one is the onshore areas. If you see the picture on the left hand of yours is the sea, and that is called the offshore areas. In the sea, we set up rigs which drill inside the seafloor, deep inside the seafloor, and it can be around 17,000 feet deep inside the seafloor. Similarly, if you drill a well on a land area, that's an onshore drilling, and that is an onshore site. Now, at the middle, you can see a picture where it gives you a cross section of the subsurface, that how the land is being divided. So you can see that at the bottom, when you drill a well, you see certain layers with gray, black, and blue color. At the top part, you have the gas, at the middle part, you have the oil, and at the bottom part, you have the oil. Now, when you drill a well, can anyone just guess how much does it cost to drill a well? Anyone, any wild guess? Can anyone just unmute and tell me any amount in dollars? How much does it cost to drill a well?
Maybe about $500 million.
You are correct. You are correct. The most expensive one which I've been worked with is $30 million. And when it comes to the offshore drilling, the amount can go up to $1 billion, where multiple companies join together, not $1 billion, I'm sorry, $100 million, where multiple companies join together and they collectively participate and try to find the oil and gas. So it's a very, very expensive business. And when we drill a well for oil and gas, we don't want to produce water. That's why oil and gas people, they don't like water and they always say no to water. For the reason they want to earn money. You won't be getting that money from the water, and that water is so toxic that you cannot drink it or you cannot use it for other purposes. So that was the reason that we always hide from water. Even if we don't like and if it comes, we try to stop it, and it's a curse for oil and gas people. And when it comes into the well, it tries to stop the production of the other hydrocarbons, and you lose a valuable amount in the well for the reason that the water is not allowing the oil and gas to be produced. Now, when we drill the well, we go deep inside the subsurface, and it's really deep, 17,000, 18,000 feet, which I've seen so far. So how do we reach over there? If you can see the picture on the right, there are different pipes you can see. So the first thing we do, we started from a 23-inch casing. We drill a hole of 23 inches hole diameter. Then what do? We case it. We put a pipe so that there's no cavings of the sands. Then we take a smaller bit, and you can see that that's the surface casing. We drill a surface casing hole, and then we put a pipe into it. And then eventually we go slimmer and slimmer, and starting from 23 inches of hole, at the end, when we reach the reservoir, after casing multiple pipes into the wellbore, we are left with only 7 inches or 5 inches of hole. Into that 7 inches or 5 inches hole, we put a very small tube, which is called tubing, and that is the production tubing, and that is 3.5 inches tubing in most of the cases. This size can vary from case to case depending on the type of the fluid you have. So I believe that I've given enough information so that you can connect with my project and you can connect with my story, which I'm about to explain. This was a case study of an oil field having a name, but due to data sensitivity, I've named it as Field X. It was an oil field. You can see a picture on the left-hand side, and you can see well A and well B are marked over there. This is actually a map. You can see it from the top, and from the top, you will see 2 holes. That 2 holes are representing 2 wells going deep inside the subsurface. Now, as I told you, water is at the bottom, gas, oil, and then gas. Due to the density differences, they have been separated from one another. We had well B in, we had a well already being produced in this field. That was well B. What did we do? That we went to an upper location and we drilled a well A over there. And when we drilled well A over there, the well A was at the top location, so we were not expecting water over there. And well B was already producing oil, so we were not expecting water over there. But when we drilled it, it started to produce water. This is Mother Nature. It happens in oil and gas business that the subsurface is not that continuous we assume, and sometimes we have surprise. So this was an issue, and my boss told me that Mufaddal, you need to work on this. We need to stop this water. As I just told you, we say no to water. This again further explains my problem. Just to simplify that, how water creates an issue that when you produce oil and water together, water due to its low viscosity, it tries to overrun the oil and it tries to produce in a more quantity, and the oil is suppressed and it is pushed away and the water takes its place. So then it's really important to stop this oil. Now, if you want to stop this oil, you want to stop this water, the most important thing is to know from where this water is coming from. So if you see on the left hand side, there are certain, measurements, but just to make it simple, you can just see, if you can see my cursor, this is the blue area, and it's showing all over water in the well bore. The problem with us was that we were not able to identify where the water is coming from. Is it coming from the bottom part? If it's coming from the middle part, if it's coming from the top part, everything was blue, and we were not able to identify where the water was coming from. This was our issue. So what could help? And what is the best place where we can have ideas? Can anyone tell? Can anyone have, where do you get the best ideas? At which place?
Mind.
Sorry?
From our mind.
From our mind, yeah, but like I'm talking about a venue. Okay, I'll simplify it. In the washrooms, when we are.
Well, I would like to add one thing. I
Yes,
would like
yes.
to add one thing. The best place where we get ideas are when we are taking a bath.
Yeah, exactly. That is where I was landing. Thank you very much. Yes, it's a washroom. It's a washroom. Once I went to a public place, and I went to a washroom. I was engrossed into this problem, since it was a problem for me. So I was thinking on this, and that what should I be doing with this? And then I was inside my closet, inside my washroom area, and there was a sound. A person used a flush. I couldn't see that person, but I could hear the sound of the flush. Then that person walked away from his washroom and went to the basin area to wash his hands. I couldn't still see that person, but I could see, I could hear the wash basin flowing the water from it. I can feel that, yes, he is using the wash basin now. This stuck into my mind that sound can actually help me. That the water noise from the flush is different, and the water noise from the wash basin is different. So if I can have a device which can actually calculate the frequencies of those sounds, I can actually detect where the water is coming from. So I discussed this idea with my friends, and I told them that sound can actually help me. I didn't tell them where this idea came from, but I told them that this is the whole idea. We can use this idea. That if we can get a tool, that tool can tell us that if the water is coming from different areas, it will make different noise, and through that noise and through that frequency, we can detect where the water is coming from. I told my manager about this, and he told that, okay, let's investigate. So we started to find out the tool. That tool was not in Pakistan, it was in Abu Dhabi. We talked with the service company, and they did their hard work, and they bought the tool in Pakistan, and we ran that tool into our well to know where the water was coming from. And if you see this diagram, don't worry if you are confused with the curves. You have to do nothing with the curves, but if you can see my cursor, this was the tool, right? You can see different zones, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, all of them are producing. And you can just come directly to the last column where you can see different frequencies. At the most bottom part, you can see the frequency is making the greatest noise from the bottommost part, and this told us that the water is actually coming from the bottommost part of this one. So we need to plug the bottommost part, and that might solve our issue. Based on this tool has a name, which is spectral noise log and high precision temperature tool. And you can see that when we ran this tool and when we plugged, you can see on the picture on the right hand side that we set this plug at the bottom, and at the bottom you can see that when we set this plug at the bottom, the water was initially 2,333 barrels, which reduced to 128 barrels. The oil was 45 barrels and it increased to 102 barrels. The gas also increased 0.18 million standard cubic feet of gas to 0.36. And you can see the increase in the percentages and the decrease in the problem. So this tool was our lifesaver. And this lifesaver was the flush of the inspiration. So after that, my boss told me that since this work is new, why don't you share this with the industry? I was a bit nervous for this, but there's a Society of Petroleum Engineers which do technical conferences. Submitted my abstract over there. It was acceptance, and later on that paper was also published, and it's available on the websites. If any one of you wants to have this paper, I'm happy to share with you guys. It will cost you from the website, but don't worry, I'll give that you for free. So this was the happy ending of my project, where the publication was done, and it was being published on SP1 Petro website as well. So yes, this was my story, and this was the inspiration which I get from a flush and helped me to do my project. So in life, many times unexpected things try to help you. If you have determination to solve it, then everything in the universe tries to help you, even if it's just a noise from the flush. That's all from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much. That was an abundance of information, abundance of knowledge, something that we shall all cherish, I'm sure. In each of their own ways, most people would have benefited from what we take for granted. At this stage, I would like to throw the stage open for questions, if any, to our keynote speaker. So, Toastmaster Mufaddal, if you can stop sharing your presentation, we can then see you. Perfect. So, Toastmaster Zahra, if you can start timing the 5 minutes from now, we shall have questions directed to our keynote speaker. Is there anyone that wants to ask a question to our speaker? Since others are formulating their question, let me start the questions with the first question to you in terms of, you said you got the idea and the inspiration in a washroom to go and suggest a possible solution to the problem.
Yeah.
Is it something that comes because that problem was always on top of your mind, even when you were in the washroom, or was it a flash of brilliance at that one particular instance? What would you categorize this as?
Yes, you're right that actually this is a issue with me. I take it as a strength and a weakness as well. That when I'm engrossed into a problem, that problem is always around me. That actually advantages my company. That okay, I always think about their problem, but at the same time, my wife, my mother, my children are really upset with this thing. That when you are at house, why are you thinking about the office? Why are you still thinking for it? So this is an issue, and you're right that when I was in the washroom, I was still thinking. It was not solved yet. The problem was not solved yet. I was still thinking about that. And yes, that was not an instant, but I was still engrossed in it. And I was engrossed till the moment I was not able to solve it.
Thank you. That's a fantastic answer. Any other questions from anyone? I'm sure there are a lot of engineers in the room. They might have technical questions. If you do, please send them to Toastmaster Mufaddal one-to-one, because I don't want to go back to my materials management class once more, because that's exactly what it looked like when you started with your first slide. I'm assuming there are no further questions because everything was crystal clear. I think what you should do, Toastmaster Mufaddal, is conduct a test at the end of this meeting and see how many of us score even 1 mark on this.
Okay, yeah, sure. There can be two possibilities. Either the audience understood everything, or maybe they didn't understand anything.
Absolutely. I think Rabia Zishan has a question. Toastmaster
Yeah,
Rabia,
yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
ask?
Good morning, everyone. Toastmaster Mufaddal, that was an amazing presentation. Just an off-topic question. How did your company rewarded you for this amazing discovery that you made?
Great question.
Yes, every company, obviously, they try to give you advantages in terms of promotions as well, and financial benefits as well. The one which I got was that I had an early promotion in that company. Normally, usually people get that promotion in 3 years, but I got that in 2 years. So that was the advantage I got from the company after doing this project.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Very
No
well deserved.
bonus?
Yeah, that automatically relates with the bonus.
Okay.
Great. Toastmaster Zara, do we still have time or have the 5 minutes elapsed? Yeah, there is a question from
Like
DTM.
28 seconds right now. We have
Okay.
still have 1.5 minutes.
Yes, I
Yeah,
guess
go ahead,
DTM Tala
Talal.
has a question.
Thank you so much. And it's not a question as such. It's just a remark or feedback that Toastmaster Mufaddal, I must say, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say that you're remarkably modest for what you've accomplished. And you're so down to earth, literally and figuratively. In fact, you're not down to earth, you're well inside the earth. And I wish you all the best in your career, and people like you move on to do great things and change the world. And one day that will happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, DTM Tala, for the kind words. Thank you very much.
Great. I think there are no further questions. Yeah, there is a question from DTM Cynthia. Go ahead.
So do you think inspiration comes from relaxation, from being distracted? Like you were in the washroom when you had your inspiration. Do you think like taking a walk or washing the dishes can be a way to get inspiration? And I know that DNA, the double helix, was solved during dream time.
Yep.
Yeah, true. Yes, true. That is true, DTM Cynthia, that it comes from the moments where you are relaxed, and that gives you the best ideas. It can be when you're taking a bath, or when you're walking, or when you're doing something which is not the work. As when you are in the work, obviously you are already in that moment. But apart from that, when you're doing something which is relaxing your mind, you're relaxing your body as well, and it's something which is allowing you to think more, is the moments where you get the best idea. But at the same time, what I've changed now, that exercise and meditation is really important, where you don't have to think anything. It's not good to think about stuff all the time. It harms you as well. So there should be breaks in life as well. That is one of the lessons learned I've taken so far in my career.
Great.
Awesome. So if there are no further questions, we can proceed further. But before we do that, the industry in which Toastmaster Mufaddal is owes its existence to a dream. If no one knows, please go and figure out how the structure of benzene was discovered by the German scientist Kekulé. He literally dreamt of it. Because when we are engrossed in our work becomes a life story in itself. And it stays with us whether we are awake, whether we are sleeping, whether we are in some other work. It stays at the back of our mind churning. And that churn results in what Toastmaster Mufaddal so eloquently put together, saying our work becomes a part of us and manifests itself in so many different ways. Thank you very much for that wonderful, enlightening talk. It looked like a technical speech, but I would categorize this as one of the best keynotes that's been delivered in our club in a long, long time. So big round of applause for the abundance of knowledge and information that Toastmaster Mufaddal shared with us. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for us to proceed further with our meeting. And as with a blank notebook, every page you fill up leads you to the next blank page. And that's the beauty of a blank notebook, because it gives you endless possibilities. You must have scribbled and scrawled on page number 1, but when you have turned that page number 2 is still fresh, crisp, pristine, virgin, white sheet of paper with lines on it for you to meticulously and mellifluously put down your thoughts. And that's exactly what we are going to experience now, because we are now veering away from the pits of the earth, from where oil comes, to the point where this oil becomes a burning fire in our quest for knowledge, quest for development, quest for growth, which is in the form of prepared speeches. In Toastmasters, prepared speeches is the crown jewel of our meeting. Why do I say that? Simply because a prepared speech is the culmination of a series of concentrated steps and efforts that people take, where they put in the effort according to the guidelines of what that speech is supposed to be, come here with preparation, with practice, with mentoring, with monitoring, and deliver something which is of value to them and to us. And that's exactly what's going to transpire. Today, we have 2 prepared speakers, and each of these speakers will be evaluated by a bunch of evaluators, which again is a unique selling proposition for our club. The first among those 2 prepared speakers is someone that can only be described as an ocean. The reason why I call her the ocean is simply because, like an ocean, she seems calm at times, restless at times. She comes gushing forth at times, and at times you are stranded in the middle with nowhere to go. But at all times, like that ocean, she surrounds you with positivity, with energy, with enthusiasm. It is coming up to about 10 p.m. at night, and look at the enthusiasm on her face to deliver yet another speech in yet another Toastmasters meeting. This is a person that is joining us all the way from San Francisco. She is someone that is a cherished member, a cherished mentor, a cherished Toastmaster in the fraternity. That is none other than DTM Cynthia Stott. She's going to be our first speaker. But before I cede the stage over to her, I'm going to request the lead evaluator, which is our keynote speaker himself, Toastmaster Mufaddal, to read out the specific objectives of the speech and to also tell us who are the members of his evaluation team. Toastmaster Mufaddal, could you please do us the honors?
Yes. Can you just give me 1 minute?
Sure.
Okay, so our target speaker today is DTM Cynthia Stott, and I hope I have pronounced the name correctly.
Cynthia.
And
Cynthia, it's
Cynthia, yeah, Cynthia, DTM Cynthia. Okay, she is delivering her project from Pathway Team Collaboration Level 3 elective using descriptive language. The title of the speech is Once Upon a Love Story. Once Upon a Love Story. Our team of evaluators include me, myself, as lead TM Mufaddal Murtaza. Visuals will be evaluated by DTM Iram Rizvi, auditory by TM Zara Ibrahim, perceptibles by TM Usman Ali, and structural by DTM Sudarshan. Once Upon a Love Story. DTM Cynthia, the stage is yours.
Come with me. Let me take you back to 1989. We're walking on the Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. I'm arm in arm with my boyfriend. He's tall, dark, handsome, and has beautiful chocolate brown eyes. And when he sings to me, I swoon. Shower me with your love. He makes the singing of an angel. We walk along and we go to our favorite pizzeria, Pizzeria Uno. We walk through the door and we smell the beautiful sourdough smells and sausage smells and tomato paste smells. I'm hungry. We sit down at the table and we order our food. And then he walks to our table. It's Dean from school. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Dean. How are you? And he chats me up and he talks with us. And before he has to leave with his friends. And then when he leaves with his friends, my boyfriend looks at me and says, "Who was that?" He knew he was history. My heart went pitter patter. And I had met Dean in school the spring before, but I hadn't seen him until that night. Well, I broke up with my boyfriend and I started dating Dean at school. We were two nerds falling in love in the chemistry study room, chemistry in the chemistry study room. And we had an abundance of love. We fell head over heels, fast and furious. And you never know who you're going to fall in love with. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and fellow romantics. Your soulmate may be a surprise. Dean looked nothing like my ideal man. In fact, he looked like my brother. And he couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. But even when he sang to me, because of the love in his voice, he made me swoon. My friend Lisa, she said, "I never knew that kind of love existed outside of the movies. You're meant to be together." And we were. We had so much fun. We traveled the world together. We went to England and China and Japan. And in Japan, we sat at a table. There was a teppanyaki table, and the chef was cooking for us, chopping and flipping over things. And Dean and I kind of slyly put our hands under the table and we hold hands. And in Japan, public displays of affection aren't appreciated, especially from adults. So when our teppanyaki chef, who didn't speak any English, we didn't speak any Spanish, but he communicated to us. He loved that we were in love. He loved that we were holding hands, and he made a big heart out of our rice and he served us from there. And we were embarrassed, so we stopped holding hands. And he kept trying to get us to hold hands together again. And it seemed like every day was a honeymoon. We loved each other so much. I never thought I could love anybody so much. And even though he wasn't my ideal man, he was the man of my heart. And it's like when I met him, I just did a double take and my heart leapt out from my chest. And one day, Dean said to me, "I hold you back. You are so much more than you think you are." What are you talking about? No, you don't hold me back. You help me move forward. He wouldn't take no for an answer. See, at that time, I had 7 strong phobias, including the fear of speaking, the fear of visibility, and I wanted to belong to Toastmasters, but I wouldn't even put one foot inside the club to be a guest. I can be more than I am. He was adamant. He was adamant. And I was a bank examiner, and I went on a business trip. And as I was getting ready to go, my super shuttle came early, and I missed giving Dean my hug and kiss goodbye. And I told him, "I love you. See you on Thursday," through the bathroom door, and went on my trip. And on Thursday, I called him. No answer. This is strange. So I talked to my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. I said, can you come up to the house? And I'm sure he's fine. We will probably have a laugh and have dinner together. And they came up and I came in the taxi and they met me in the lobby of my apartment building. And I opened the door and I gave my father-in-law a hug and he pulled me tight and he said, Dean is gone. He died. I couldn't believe it. My world came crashing in. I screamed this unearthly scream like a banshee. I cried for 21 days. To the point I had no tears left. To the point of dehydration, and I could drink water and drink some more. And I remembered what Dean said, you can be more than you think you can. And I took a class called the Self-Discovery Workshop. And she said, the instructor said, you're like a stone and you're rolling along, but really your life is a blank piece of paper in which you draw. And you can draw whatever you want. And I thought of Dean. And I wrote, courage. I want courage. And when I started in Toastmasters and started speaking, I could say to myself, do it for Dean, as he wants you to be more. And when my knees were knocking, my lips were quivering, and my words couldn't come out of my mouth, I said, do it for Dean. And I encourage you, when you face fears, remember you are more than you ever thought you could be. Do it for Dean, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Cynthia. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for us to start our evaluations. To do the honors, I would like to call on our lead evaluator to take charge and lead us through the evaluation segment. Toastmaster Mufaddal, the stage is all set for you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. DTM Sienta, what a roller coaster ride it was. You took us into a ride of emotions where we went up all the way happily and came down, and it was heart-touching, trust me. The way you started, the way you moved back when you were with your boyfriend, arms in arms, every moment you had our attention. What a wonderful speech. What a wonderful speech. The way you created the ambience, the fragrance and the smell of the sausages, the smell of the tomatoes, everything was perfect. Everything was to the point. And you took us into those moments as we were an observer with you all the way you were moving with your mates. Then you started your speech, you moved on, that you were with your boyfriend, then the dean came, and then there was a switch in your story where you had a breakup, then you were with your dean, and then you explained how you moved all the way to the world. The best part I liked about your speech was when you were in China, sitting on the table, having the food, and the way you moved your hands down while you said that you took your hands down the table, you were holding your hands. It was really, really lovely. And you added the humor into that you were holding the hands. The person watching you was so much affected that he served you the rice with the shape of the heart. Amazing, amazing it was. And then we were so happy. We were in a joy, and we were not expecting that something bad will be coming. And then the roller coaster went down when you explained that you went out on a trip, you were an examiner, you called the dean, he didn't pick up, you came back, And I really liked the way that you hugged your brother-in-law and he hugged you tighter. That was the moment my eyes were wet. Trust me, my eyes were wet. Amazingly drafted speech. Your facial expressions were excellent. And I must say that you had us in every moment. Some areas of improvement which I would like to highlight is that, to be honest, I don't have any. You had everything on the mark, everything on the mark. The way you ended was excellent, that you explained that if you are in fear, you are more than what you are. And you ended up in correctly way that the dean at the end became your motivation. That's all from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Toastmaster Mufaddal, you are supposed to ask all the
Oh, I'm
panel
sorry.
members to
Yeah,
come and
yeah, I'm
evaluate
sorry.
as
I'm
well.
sorry. Now I would like to invite the visual evaluator, DTM Iram Rizvi.
I'm sorry, I just fixing my technology. Can you hear me well?
Yes, you're audible.
Good morning, good evening, good wherever you are. To DTM Cynthia, amazing speech. I love what I saw. I was amazed with your expressions, with your hand movements, with your gestures, with your eyes. Everything that you did today was far ahead. It didn't seem like past 10 p.m. at your side. You had a lot of energy with you. Now, because you are a very experienced Toastmaster, you are dramatic. You have the plot set, you know how to bring in a story, build characters, and come up with the climax, and then you come up with a message in the end. I love the fact that what I was seeing today, I will do some nitpicking, which honestly speaking, there was no space, but I have to do. I love the fact that you brought Peter Patter, you used your hands, you spoke about heart. So when you said that the phone was ringing, tring, 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 there was no answer. Just that, honestly speaking, because you were so happy, Preppy, I want to see that phone ringing with a sound and a bit of a holding of that. One more point, if I could add up, was when you said, I wrote courage. I want you to bring a paper that says courage. It could be a yellow post-it written in a pretty thick paper. So you would say, I brought in courage. You know, just bring in that paper. So you could have a small paper which is flipped, and then you turn it around that it was written courage, like a magic trick that, you know, we thought it's empty and you wrote courage on it. That's my nitpicking, honestly speaking. And I enjoyed what I saw today. Over to the evaluator.
Thank you very much, DTM Iram Rizvi, for the wonderful evaluation. Now I would like to invite the auditory evaluator, Zara Ibrahim. The stage is yours.
Am I audible and visible? Okay. So hello everyone. So if I talk about the auditory perspective, so from the very beginning, you kept the audience captivated with the title only, Once Upon a Love Story. So where you talk about 1989, the voice modulation which you incorporated within your speech, and moreover, what I would like to say is every word you elicited synchronized with the action or the body gesture you demonstrated. Where you talk about the chemistry, Fast and Furious, my friend Lisa, where you were coming forward to the screen. So it was very nice. And moreover, if I talk about where you talk about the courage, and then do it for Dean, do it for Dean. So it was amazing. So over to you, the lead evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TM Zara Ibrahim. Spot on. Thank you very much for the wonderful evaluation. Now I would like to invite the perceptible evaluator, and that is none other than Toastmaster Osama Ali. Toastmaster Osama Ali, the stage is yours. Toastmaster Osama Ali, can you hear us?
I don't think I can see him in the meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He is dropped off.
Yes.
It's okay. I can do both the perceptible and the structural if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Given that we are
would be great.
wasting
Thank you
a
very
lot of time. Yeah. Thank you very much. So I shall take over from here. Thank you. So let
Thank
me
you.
start with the perceptible part of Toastmaster Cynthia's speech. The overall perception of this speech was this was a trip down nostalgia lane. A trip down nostalgia lane filled with learnings from her life, which can be retrofitted into every one of our lives. And that was communicated to us through a plethora of aspects that she employed. First and foremost was her face and her facial expression. Whenever she spoke about the time that she spent with Dean or with the other boyfriend, or for that matter, the sheer simple joy of consuming a meal with someone that you love, she brought it out through all her physical aspects of communication. To me, the perception that kept getting reinforced throughout her speech was one of extreme passion, extreme love, and the willingness to let go, but live on. As the song goes, my heart shall go on, and her heart is going on, as was evidenced by this evocative speech that she delivered. So on the perception part, I would give her an 8 out of 10 for taking us on a journey of nostalgia with her, but yet enabling us to live through her vision of what it means to keep carrying on. Now, let me talk about the structural aspects of the speech. The speech opened with a story of a couple walking down Pier 49, walking into a pizzeria and enjoying a meal. At that stage, I, as an audience member, was captivated. I wanted to actually now know, were there anchovies on that pizza? Was the sauce tangy enough? Were there mushrooms? Was there pepperoni? She didn't tell us that, but I was with her on the other table eavesdropping on that pizza. From then onwards, that breakup and eventually that journey through the world. I was the chef at the teppanyaki restaurant flipping the meats when she was at the table talking to her boyfriend. It was that connecting with me. And when she talked about that poignant moment of loss, I wanted to shed a tear, and that's why you must have seen my screen going off for that particular moment. That is the power of structuring your speech. You open with an anecdote, you take us through a journey, bring us to the climax, and then veer away to what you want us to take. All in all, an object lesson on how to construct a story and deliver it. A couple of areas of improvement, if I may. The transitions need to be marked very clearly. The opening to the body was an excellent transition because she interspersed it with good morning Toastmasters, etc. But from the body to the conclusion, the transition was a little abrupt. It was almost like she was on Route 49 and then she took an alleyway into a small town. It's great, but if you drive on the alleyway at a speed of 120 miles per hour, either you will crash your car or you are going to knock down a few pedestrians. And that's not what you want to do. So pull the brakes, pause at that stage and turn after indicating that I am now exiting. And it could have been done very simply by saying, in conclusion, I do it for Dean. What about you, fellow Toastmasters? And that I'm sure all of us would have nodded vigorously and said, yes, we'll also do it for Dean, though we didn't know who Dean was, but she brought him alive for all of us. So thank you very much for that. That was my evaluation. Thank you very much. And now I shall don the hat of the Toastmaster of the day and carry on through the rest of the meeting. Next up, we have a speaker who can only be described as a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the reason why I say so is because in his day job, he's an auditor whose entire life is dedicated to nitpicking and figuring out why somebody has made a mistake. But the moment he puts on this jacket and comes into Toastmasters fraternity, he is someone who is all encompassing, all embracing, always energizing, always pushing people to be better than who they could be. Even if they think they can't be, he brings them into the fold and takes them to the next level. If you don't trust me, look at a gentleman who delivered our keynote speech today. I remember the evaluation that Talha gave him in KTC meeting, and today he's delivered a 20-minute speech flawlessly. So that is the power of what DTM Talha bin Hamid can do for you. That is why his messages should be read very carefully, and all of you should connect with him on his WhatsApp because he's available for Toastmasters 24/7. He is going to be our next speaker. But before I give the stage over to him, I would like to request his lead evaluator, DTM Saif Ali Sheikh, to take us through what he is going to talk about. DTM Saif, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Sudarshan. Toastmaster DTM Talha bin Hamid, attempting a path innovative planning, and the project is High Performance Leadership Project, and project number 1. And my team include for the visuals DTM Sudarshans, auditory DTM Usama Ali, perceptible DTM Zahra Ibrahim, structural by DTM Iram Rizvi. The purpose of his project is for the member to apply his leadership and planning knowledge to develop a project plan, number 1, organize a guidance committee, number 2, and implement the plan with the help of a team. The second purpose is that it is the first project from HPL High Performance Leadership Project is the members to introduce his plan and vision to the club. Over to TMOD.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lead Evaluator. Ladies and gentlemen, with his speech titled The Magical Journey, DTM Talha bin Hamid. DTM Talha, the stage is all set for you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Am I audible and visible? All right. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, how many of you are avid readers? Raise your virtual hand or real hand. How many of you are readers? Yes. My second question is, what have you done about it? Besides reading yourself, what have you done about it? I'm sure that all of us readers pass through the same dilemma. People around us don't like to read. They don't even like to read the project description, let alone a book. They don't even like to read the instruction manual of a gadget, let alone a novel. And we, the readers, harness all this knowledge, and then we are used as human search engines. At least once a day, I receive a message from a club officer. DTM Talha, if someone becomes a member in January, what will be the club dues? And you know where the answer is? It's not here. It's right there in Toastmasters Club Leadership Handbook or even on the website. So this is the dilemma of readers. Another dilemma, when we read something good, we want to share it with the world. And it is an uphill battle. Because whenever I suggest a book to my wife, who is an avid reader herself, what she does is she reads everything except that one book. So in the end, I'm educating her by guiding her what to read, simply by the act of suggesting to her what not to read, if you can get around your head. And that gave me an idea. I've been a strong supporter of the belief that every Toastmasters club today needs a reason to exist. It's no longer enough to be situated in a geographical area or be part of a district. Districts, areas, divisions are growing less and less relevant day by day. And this very club is an evidence of that. And that is why we should ask ourselves, if we are establishing a club, what need does it fulfill? Or alternatively, if there's a need, is there a club to fulfill it? And that brings me, ladies and gentlemen, to the Charter Olympics. What are Charter Olympics? Actually, I thought of 3 themed clubs, which I've mentioned before as well. And I tasked 3 of our division directors, and there's a contest that which club gets to charter first. The first one is Exhibit 1, which is a club for content creators, visual storytellers who like to use digital media to tell their story. The second is Midnight Magic, whose USP is that it will meet at 12 midnight Pakistan time for 1 hour every week, and it will be themed around all the freaky stuff that goes bump in the night. Aliens, ETs, ghosts, witches, you name it. And the third is the topic of my high performance leadership project, WordWise. It is a club about readers and literary appreciators, but more importantly, it is a club who want to write things worth reading. And that is why I envision this club as a club that will host creative writing sessions on an extempore basis. People are given topics at the start of the meeting, and 25 minutes later, they're supposed to recite their creations 3 to 5 minutes in lieu of table topics. It will also give a chance at interpretive reading, a very important art that is not existing in the current Toastmasters curriculum. But we used to have a manual called interpretive reading. And that allows all participants to do an interpretive reading of a literary piece of their choice, whether it's theirs or someone else's. And they can even do it in any language other than English if they translate it at the end, or they can do it in English. The third USP of this club is that it will host a creative writing training session or a literary session or a keynote in every meeting. And when I reached out to my district, I found so many kindred spirits. We have Toastmaster Akash Kumar from Division C, Toastmaster Azam Ali, who both are division directors. Toastmaster Rusa Kawal, who is a freelance writer herself. DTM Farooq, who is a writer and a poet, and also our national public speaking champion for 2020. And currently he is the champion of Urdu speech contest. Toastmaster Abrar Wani, another well-known poet within the Toastmasters community. Toastmaster Anam Qadri, who is an avid reader, and she reads everything except what I recommend to her. And Toastmaster Meher Tanveer, who is once again known to be a very literary-minded Toastmaster. And this was the vision of the club, which I've already detailed. This is what our first agenda of the pre-launch meeting looked like. What we did was that we named all the segments like they were chapters of a book. So for example, the introduction is named as dedication. And then the opening Toastmaster of the Day segment is named forward. And then there's the next worded assignment, which is the creative writing session. And then there's Odyssey, which is the keynote address. Book of the week is self-explanatory. Prepared speeches are called episodes.
Wordsworth is what we have given titled the content showcase, interpretive reading. There is Let's Word It recitals where people are asked to recite the works they've created. And finally, there's the appraisal section, which is another name for journal evaluation, and epilogue, which is the closing session by the presiding officer. For our second ever pre-launch meeting, we managed to invite Alexandre Matt, who is the second place finisher in World Championship of Public Speaking. And you know how that came to be? I contacted him in LinkedIn and I told him that for me, you were the winner. And you know what they say about flattery? It always works. But in this case, it was not flattery. It was a sincere and genuine emotion. And he responded, fine, be part of the jury next year. And luckily, he turned out to be very interested in themed clubs. They are his thing. And he agreed to honor us with his presence. And now we are hurtling towards our charter. We have gathered 17 signups so far. We need 4 or 5 more to reach charter strength. So see you all on the other side, hopefully after the club is chartered. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Talha. Word wise indeed. I would now like to call upon the lead evaluator to take charge and take us through the evaluation session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmaster, and in particular, Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid. What a great opening, asking the questions, how many of you have it of reading, and then you ask for what you have done about it. That was a great opening. And you mentioned about it that you have the dream to establish a club for the 3 teams. Exhibit 1, Midnight Magic and Word Wise. And after that, you come up and select that you are going toward the Word Wise. As per the project requirement, you have to establish a guidance committee. And fortunately, there are 7 members. It's a big team for your guidance committee. That shows that you are very much serious about your project. And you describe your project, that what's going to happen and how many members at right now. And you are in a process to recruit more in your plan. By having said this one, I think you mush too many things together instead of you just focus about yourself to come up with your vision and the planning. You also going toward the action plan that is not required as per the project number 1. So just focus yourself as per the project and project guideline. That will give more opportunity for the members to know more about the project. By having said this one, let me ask my team members who is going to focus toward the visual one, and he is none other than DTM Sudarshan.
Thank you, Mr. Lead Evaluator. To focus on the visual aspects of DTM Talha's speech, first and foremost, the way DTM Talha began conveyed to us the earnestness at which he was delivering this particular speech. Second was the way the slides were constructed and the way his presentation and the slides meshed together communicated to us of a speaker that is well prepared, well practiced, and firmly on solid ground when it comes to the subject matter being discussed. Lastly, from a purely visual perspective, the slides took over the visual of the person itself, but at no point in time did we feel that the person was absent in the slides, because the slides had been created very meticulously. So all in all, on a visual scale, this presentation, according to me, scores a 8 on 10 for the delivery. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you very much, DTM Sudarshan. Let's move to the auditory part. And we have among us our youngest Toastmaster is Toastmaster Osama Ali. Toastmaster Osama, you are around.
Yes, thank you so much, DTM Saif Ali Sheikh. Well, I would like to comment on the auditory aspect. If we talk about how DTM Talha was taking her speech, his vocal variety was quite good. He was using efficient words during his speech, and his voice modulation was good as well. He was using good words during his speech. Over to you, DTM Saif Ali Sheikh.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Osama Ali. And let's move to the perceptible point. And we have among us expert in this field, Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim.
Actually,
think she
Zahra,
fell off.
she had a power outage. So maybe we can move on to the next one and then come back to her. She will be
Okay.
joining.
Okay. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Talha. Let's move to the structural part of the speech, and who can do the justice better than DTM Iram Rizvi. Over to Iram.
Thank you very much, DTM Saif. And congratulations, DTM Talha, for doing your project successfully. Can you hear me well? I hear an echo. Okay,
For
great.
me, is okay.
So DTM Talha, I like the way how you started your speech by asking questions and connecting with the audience. And I like the way that you brought in the issue that is very common with most of us. And if it is not personally happening with us, we know someone close to us, our loved one who does that a lot. And then you brought in what the solution is, and you showed a perspective of how it should look like. Then you brought in the slides that show that this is where you've done your research, and this is going to solve the issue of what we all are doing. And you showed your team, your action plan and call to action. You reminded me of something, DTM Talha. Recently, I heard from one of the very famous writers, I forgot his name, that he said that he used to pay his children $10 per book. And his children think that they have ripped him off by earning $1,000 for the year. And that's the best investment he has done so far. So this is what you're doing right now with this club, that you're trying to bring in the things which are going to solve the issue that we are not really reading and putting an effort by reading ourselves. We prefer getting in touch with the person. I'm also one of the culprit here, because I used to read the rule books, but now I feel that the rule books are same. Let me just hear from someone that what are the points changed, and I would do that. So thank you so much for doing that. I love the structure because you built up by showing that it is something common, and then somewhere or the other we all felt that we were the culprit, and now I feel like becoming a part of the club. So thank you. Over to you, DTM Saif.
Thank you very much, DTM Iram. And let's going back to Toastmaster Zahra. Toastmaster Zahra, you are here?
Yes, she's back.
Yes.
Toastmaster. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yes, your duty is to see the perceptible point of DTM Talha's speech.
Yes. Thank you very much. Dream big, start small, but most of all, start. So this was something which was...
Again, she lost. Anyhow. So we all perceive your point of view, what you are saying, and you encourage us to join your WordWise club. And sooner, I think most of us will make a mind to shake the hand with you and go together. So we perceive well this your project. And you rightly mentioned about it, the people's having the habit to just pick the telephone and ask the question and still in the last 25 years, I'm facing the same issue, not only from the Pakistan, even from the Middle East also, they're asking, Seth, we are in these situations, what we have to do it. So you are rightly mentioned about your project. It is a good one. And let's hear from our DTM Talha after the evaluation.
Thank you so much, DTM sir. I believe Toastmaster Zahra is back. Toastmaster Zahra,
Yes,
can you deliver
back.
your, yeah.
Yes. So from your presentation, it was evidently we could see the hard work of every member and how you organized every material to the audience. It was crystal clear that how this mission, or I would say that work which you have done was. I would even like to join your word-wise Toastmaster as well. So vision with action makes a powerful reality, and we could see that in your entire presentation and how you organize every material. Thank you very much. I don't know what I've done.
Let's back
Thank you
to
so much.
Yes, DTM Talha.
Yes, thank you so much. So my dear evaluators, very valuable feedback. I believe that no matter what a speech is, it should be engaging, interesting, entertaining. It doesn't have a license to be boring if it is a factual speech like this one was. So I received some very valuable feedback. I am particularly glad about the positive feedback that I received about the technical aspects of this project as a speech. Because this was my target, that not to make it boring just by the discount of being an HPL speech. And I believe that you all found it engaging and interesting. Thank you so much for appreciating the project. And you are all welcome to participate in WordWise meetings. I'll be floating the promos in the Quantum Leap group as well, like I have been before. Also, if you are interested in becoming a charter member, please contact me. Or if you can refer another Toastmaster to be a charter member, that would be great. If they're interested in this kind of thing, the video recording of the first 2 meetings of WordWise are available, or they can check it out by participating themselves. So thank you so much, everyone, once again. Over to you, DTM sir.
Thank you very much. And by this, I hand over control back to DTM Sudarshan.
Thank you very much, DTM Saif. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I need to announce at this stage that our Geek of the Week has had to drop off due to unforeseen circumstances, and we shall not be having the Geek of the Week segment. The other thing that we need to note is we are running about 16 minutes behind schedule, and therefore I would now request our table topic master to quickly take over from me and conduct the table topic session. And given the time that we have already lost, I think we can have up to a maximum of 4 speakers. So DTM Saif Ali Sheikh is our table topic master for the day. I would request him to take charge and lead the session.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day. And the fellow Toastmasters, it was started with a blank notebook, and it's a time. To sometime you have to go back to the pages of the notebook and share what you have written over there. And I will first read the topic, then I will select the speaker. So it is giving the opportunity that topic is the first, so everyone can understand and no one knows that I'm calling to whom. Is it okay?
Can you repeat, sir?
I will read the topic first, and then I will select the speaker, instead of first selecting the speaker and reading the topic. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. My first topic is totally technical things. It's a number games. What 3 tips would you give someone looking to make a career change? Let me repeat the topic. What 3 tips would you give someone looking to make a career change? And my target speaker is Toastmaster Mariana Burka.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Would you please, I understood the first part of the question, but what I have to give the tips for? Career.
3 tips. We are going to give the 3 tips.
For what?
Let me repeat once again the topic. What 3 tips would you give someone looking to make a career change?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I changed career, so I know that if you do something like that, you have to not being unhappy with what you're doing, but you have to see something brighter in your future if you change your career. So number 1 tip is that new thing you want to change to excites you. The second tip, I think it's always important if we do something, especially if we leave something behind to do something, it's important that we have to be passionate about that. So my second tip is, are you passionate about what you want to change over, what you want to learn to have a new career? And the third one is, we want lots of things. Like I was fascinated by the first presenter, but I am not an engineer. So as much as I was fascinated to figure it out, how to get the oil and keep the water done, I cannot change into an engineer, no matter what. So you have to be reasonable and down to earth enough to understand, is it achievable, your career change? Does it make sense in your future life? So these 3 tips would be that you have to be passionate about it. It has to be reasonable. And I don't even remember what said I very first time. I hope you remember it. But reasonableness, it's important. Passion is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mariana rightly said about it. You must have to be passionate about the new job, and that job must be a reasonable job, and you have to put the efforts to facilitate you what you are going to do in the new job. Okay, my next question. I will read the question first, then I will call the person. Be attentive, please. Who are 2 people in your life that inspire you and why? Let me repeat the topic. Who are 2 people in your life that inspire you and why? Toastmaster Ishwani.
Hello.
Yes, Toastmaster Ishwani.
Yeah, so I understand the question. So who are 2 people in my life who has inspired me throughout? So it's
and
what I, yeah. So what I've understood from my life is consistency and authenticity is something which will lead to a larger game of your life. And this particular aspect of life has been ingrained by my father. So he was very authentic, very consistent when it comes to anything which he did in his life. So that is one great learning which is kind of passed on to me, and that legacy I carry. Second, my mother. So she's someone who is the man of the house and managing a lot of things in my absence of my father. So that showed that one lady can manage whole host of transactions, whole host of responsibilities, despite difficult situations in life. So these are two very important pillars of my life, which have taught me to fight in all odds throughout my life. So
thank you very much, Ashwani. You rightly mentioned about there's a father and the mother, both are giving the impact, and we all inspire from our father and our mother. So my next questions, what are 3 things you look for in a good friend? What are 3 things you look for in a good friend? And may I request Toastmaster Lydia Norman, you are here?
Yes.
The question for you.
Yes. Thank you for that question. That is an excellent question. 3 things that I look for in a friend is, number 1, honesty. Honesty is important because you can know what a person is thinking. You can always count on them to speak the truth. The second thing that I would value in a good friend is a sense of humor. Humor allows you to find things, even when things are difficult, you can find something to kind of laugh at that can lighten the mood and can help you deal with those situations. And that brings me to the third point. Third thing that I would look for in a good friend is dependability. Dependability means that you can always count on that person to help you, not only when things are good, but also when things are not so good. So the 3 things that I would look for in a friend is honesty, a sense of humor, and dependability. Thank you for the question. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Linda. You rightly mentioned about that the 3 things. One is honesty and value of the humor, and you can depend on your friend. My last question, as per the instructions from TMOD, the maximum 4 speakers. Okay. What are the first 3 things you do when you wake up in the morning? What are the first 3 things you do when you wake up in the morning? And my questions goes to Zameen Akhtar. Zameen, you are here with us.
Zaim Akhtar. Yes, Zaim, are you there?
Okay. What about Nurul and Qureshi? She's here. Nurul and Qureshi with us.
Yes.
Nurul and Qureshi.
Yes, yes, I hear you.
You are with us? You are with
can
us?
hear me?
Yes, now we can hear. Do you know the question what I asked? I have to repeat.
Sir, can you repeat?
Okay. What are the first 3 things you do when you wake up in the morning?
Sir, first thing, I wake up in the morning, perform the mass, then prepare my breakfast, and then third thing, and I'm going to for a walk in the park. This thing. Hello?
Yes, yes, you are. We are listening. Okay. I think it's a technology issue we all facing in our meeting. And Yes, Noor, you want to say something? It's okay. You are in the office. Just enjoy the office, please. And you rightly mentioned that you will wash up first, and then you will take the breakfast and you will walk in the park. And by this, the table topic session is concluded, and I hand over control back to TMOD.
Thank you very much, Table Topic Master. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we started this meeting with a blank notebook. Throughout the meeting, we've been filling up the pages of this notebook with a lot of material, some of which you will keep, some of which you may tear the pages and make it into a rocket, some of which you will not just keep the page, but you'll actually frame it and put it up in front of you, etc. What you choose to do with every page of this blank notebook is a choice that you make. However, what it represents is an opportunity for you to turn the page. And yes, the little one agrees with me, it seems, that when you turn the page and start writing on the fresh new blank page of your blank notebook, you have the opportunity to write a new story, to create a new script, to go in a different direction. As our table topic master asked us in his first very question, if you intend changing your career, what do you need to do? He asked for 3 things. There could be 300 things, 3,000 things, or just one thing. The choice is yours, but the blank notebook is something all of us get every single moment of our life, whether we are awake or asleep, whether it is day or night, whether it is our victory or our defeat. We all receive a blank notebook every breath that we take. What we choose to do with it is our choice. Do we take the effort to take the pen out and write our name to make it our own? Or do we just let it lie on the table for someone else to pick up and write their name? That is the difference between a blank notebook that is yours versus a blank notebook that remains a blank notebook. All I would like to tell you is write your own story in your own blank notebook every moment of the day. And guess what? When you look back and read about it, 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, even 6 months down the line, you will be amazed at the journey your life has been taking. Thank you for having me as your Toastmaster of the day. I will now hand the charge back to our general evaluator, who will evaluate the proceedings of today's meeting and share with us the report of the roll holders. Madam General Evaluator, DTM Iram Rizvi, the stage is all set for you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Sudarshan. I would like to now call upon my team of role players to share their reports. Can I first start with Toastmaster Osama Ali for sharing the report around the language evaluation?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Iram Rizvi. So our word of the day was abundance, and it was used by DTM Sudarshan and DTM Cynthia. And I would like to say that there was some distortion on my side. So if anyone have used the word as well, they can tell. And apart from that, I would like to share about the good use of grammar. There was, you have to be passionate about it. And then he was very authentic and consistent. Over to you, Toastmaster Iram Rizvi.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Osama. Now, I would like to call our timer for the day, Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim. And because we have missed to do timings of the speakers and also for the table topics, so Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim, you're going to share the report for both the sessions. And I would request the Zoom master to please have the voting polls ready. I'm sorry, I have an interruption over here big time. Please, over to you, Toastmaster Zahra. Mariam.
if I start with the table topics, everyone spoke on time. There were no disqualifications, and for and for the keynote speaker, he was also on time. But even the speakers, DT and Cynthia Stott, she was 7 minutes 32 seconds, so there were just 2 seconds above. And for DT and Talha, actually, I was the one who showed the time card late because I was having some disconnections. So he was just 6 seconds ahead. So I think it's fine. So I don't want anyone to disqualify. And for the evaluators, the lead evaluators were on time. And for all of us who were the round robin evaluators, we took, I think, everyone spoke like 3, 6, 7 seconds ahead. So this is my report, which is very concise, if you all understand. Thank you. Might have understood. Over to you, Madam DTM. Madam.
DTM Mira, are you there, or have we lost you to technical difficulties?
I think there's a screen freeze.
Yep. And now she's.
He would be
gone.
back in a few seconds, knowing her though. Yeah.
So in the meantime, you can send the poll for table topic and the evaluation.
Yes, sir. I'm floating the poll. Everyone, please vote and vote as quickly as possible.
I think you sent the table topic speaker name is wrongly.
Yeah. Wait. Yes, wait a second. I corrected it, but sometimes, this is the correct one. Yeah. Everyone, please vote. Other polls are coming too.
There are 4 speakers. Mariana, Aishwani, Nurulan, and one more, Lydia.
Oh, there was Lydia too. All right, apologies. Let me correct this poll then. And meanwhile, vote for the other ones, best evaluators and best round robin. Apologies for this, everyone.
So Iram is here now.
Yeah.
My apologies. Thank you. So have we started voting? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Zahra, for covering it up. And in the meantime, we can go ahead with the voting. Am I visually and audio is fine for my
Visual
side?
is clear, audio is lagging a lot.
Okay.
Now seems better. Carry on.
Is it better now?
Slightly better, but just carry on. I think we should be able to hear you now clearly.
I think TM Modi, you can take over. So we are exceeding the time now, so we have to conclude the meeting.
Yes, please. So I will conclude the meeting with the following remarks that our meeting started about 2 or 3 minutes late, and that lateness has creeped into almost all our sessions. So we are well behind our scheduled closing. But that being said, I think overall today's meeting with 18 participants was yet another feather in the cap of Quantum Leap Toastmasters. The keynote speech was highly technical but highly informative and enabled a lot of us who are not in the industry to get a flavor of what that is. And overall, I think today's meeting will go down as yet another very important milestone in our journey as Quantum Leap Toastmasters Club. One bit of feedback to evaluators whenever they take charge: kindly avoid repeating the speaker's speech entirely. 1 or 2 evaluators literally repeated the entire speech that the speaker made, which is not the objective. The objective is to share with us what you thought could have been done better and what you thought was done really well. So overall, that was where it was. I would now like to request our president to take charge and close the meeting by announcing the winners.
Thank you very much, DTM Sudarshan. Fellow Toastmaster, did you enjoy the meeting today?
Yes.
Oh, great. And that credit goes to DTM Sudarshan. Let's have a voting result, please.
Yes, thank you so much, DTM sir. And we have the results. All right. First, best speaker, to my utter shock and surprise, goes to me. Thank you. This is one of the few occasions where my home club has voted for me. So thank you so much. Best evaluator goes to DTM SAF. And yeah, I have yet to vote for the best big three. I will do so just now. Best round robin goes to DTM Sudarshan. Best table topics goes to Toastmaster Lydia Norman. Congratulations, everyone. I'm just floating the poll for best big three.
Okay. In the meantime, I will request any guest would like to add something before we are going to conclude the meeting, because we are running out of time. It's 4 minutes late already. Any guest who would like to add anything? Yes, Toastmaster Mariano.
Just, I want to say thank you for having me again. It's always fun to come and visit your club. The only problem is the hour is it's 2 o'clock in the morning for me, but it was fun to be here, and thank you very much for including me in the meeting.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mariana. Anyone else? Toastmaster Nurulan, you want to say anything? Oh, you are in the office. Please enjoy your office. And may I request Toastmaster Talha, who is the best?
Yes.
Big.
Best big three goes to Toastmaster of the day, DTM Sudarshan. And DTM Iram, if you are there, can you please briefly give your general evaluation now, since we've closed the meeting and you were disconnected at that time? Is it possible? Oh, he's dropped out again. All right. Over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And I would like to extend my thank you and New Year wishes to all of you, and having a good time ahead of you. Officially, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and unofficially will maybe continue. Officially, the meeting is adjourned.
All right. Thank you so much. So anyone who is interested to say anything, DTM Cynthia, what do you have to say?
Just close the recording, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.